I'm your host with the most, broadcasting live from the ATL. My name is Rich Live, in case you didn't know. And I got the beautiful, smarter than me, my co-host, the one and only who?
Lady L, how's everybody doing? Hello, MSC Nation.
I like that. I like that. Hello, MSE Nation. I know.
Nation.
Hopefully, you guys miss us because we miss you too. Matter of fact, the whole crew has been busy. This is the peak of our season for broadcasting and media and productions, and so we've been at it. We've been working real hard. So now's a good time to share the link. Let everybody know that Rich Live and Lady L are on the show right now. Please share the link. We don't want you guys to miss, or anybody to miss, any of the nuggets that we have today. Once again, happy Tuesday evening to you. Welcome to the Rich Live Show. How are you doing this magnificent Tuesday?
I'm doing well. I'm doing awesome. I'm excited about the motivational moments that we bring on our show every time. I know that I feel happy whenever we can actually help someone move forward in life, whatever they're going through, whatever they're thinking about. So I love that we have a global audience. So, yes, please chime in wherever you are. Let us hear from you. Come into the chat. We want to know where you're coming from, what country, what city, wherever you're coming from, and get these motivational moments, these motivational nuggets. Because you know what, Rich, you always have a lot of motivational nuggets that we need to hear. So we're getting ready to, some people are thinking about gearing down for the year and how they want to end their year or how they want to start their year. And we just want to talk about some motivational things that we think is important for you to know so that you can end this year in a bang. So you can kind of end this year with the right mindset. So, can we do that tonight, Rich?
We
What do you think?
can. We can absolutely positively do that. I always think it's good that around October, November, that people start thinking about those folks that have New Year's resolutions, uh, thinking about practical ways to start to end this year and bring in the next year. But before I dive into that, hey, today is what? November what?
The 14th.
It's a
Yes.
special day. Today is Lady L's birthday, so y'all drop some hearts in the chat room. Happy birthday, Lady L.
Thank you so much. Yes, it is my birthday. I am so blessed to be blessed with another birthday. So, hey, hey, I'm thinking of using my time wisely because you always say this, Coach Rich, is like living in our life is living borrowed time in the flesh. So, whenever we get blessed with another birthday, we got to make sure that we use it to the fullest. So, yes,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. We're going to kind of kick it off and we're going to be doing things different. So, without all this rumbling and stuff, but we're going to speak about some of the great nuggets that we can use going into the beginning of next year. And I'm going to go a little bit off strip and do something that I typically don't do, which is I'm going to give you an opportunity to let me pour into you. So if you have friends or family members or listeners that follow the Rich Life Show or the MSC Network, have them to jump in the chat. And I'm going to give personalized advice within reason if you ask me to. I'm going to give some great advice to you leading into 2024 based on what I know and how I
Wow.
believe that we can grow. I'm going to do that for you today and have Lady L dive in to help as well. So, hey, at
Wow.
yeah, so that's the plan. Now, I'm going to be giving away a whole lot of knowledge. You know why? Because you know what? What's for us or what has been embedded in us is not necessarily for us to keep. It's for us to share. So guess what? We're sharing nuggets each and every Tuesday. And then I got some bones to pick with some folks, but then at the same time, I'm going to share some things with you, and I'm going to call some people out in a great way to tonight too. So y'all just roll with us as we just dive into this conversation, and we're going to be grateful and thankful. We got a great show coming up next Tuesday, and throughout the rest of the year, man, we're going to celebrate and have parties and just be festive. And we hope that you can be festive too. What do you think about that, Lady L?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's great for us to actually take this time to dig into helping someone individually. So we can't wait to hear from you. And yeah, of course, we want to be festive. We're getting ready to go into that holiday season. And so, yeah, we want to make sure that we are going in that direction and celebrating the holidays and doing it well. So, yes, definitely.
Okay, great. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this conversation, and I'm going to let you give us I came up with a couple of nuggets, myself and Lady L, on things that we can do
Yes.
to inspire those folks, including ourselves. So, guess what? Not only are we're facilitators of information, but we receive it from you too. So don't think that we're just dishing it out. We're hearing your nuggets as well. This is why we want you to share this link so that we can continue to be an interactive community. And we're going to look and feel totally different in 2024 as it relates to the broadcast. So you guys stick around for
Yes.
that. I'm excited about
Yes.
that.
I am definitely excited about that. Yes, definitely. So yes, let's get into these motivational moments. I think some people are just listening in and like, hey, you've got so far your week wasn't all that fabulous. So you want to hear something that is going to motivate you to move forward, just like I was saying earlier. So let's dig into that and Coach Rich, and as if we could just talk about dealing with different personalities, different people, whether that work or, whether it's you being an entrepreneur trying to do things. And so dealing with people who are not so nice. So how can you help someone who is dealing with someone and they're being their best version of themselves, they're being kind to someone and that person is not receptive to it, so they're not being kind back. So what would you say to someone who is dealing with some difficulties in that area?
Um,
Because
at the end of the day, I would think that those people that are unkind to you, and I think we all have dealt with that in some way or another. Um, just keep in mind that people that are mean, that are not kind, or that have been spiteful to you, these people are dealing with internal things that probably have nothing to do with you. Most often, people treat others how they feel about themselves, and
yeah,
I truly believe that. And I want to speak about gratefulness for a second. I believe that no matter how kind you are to someone, if that person is ungrateful, there's absolutely nothing you can do about someone that's just an ungrateful person. So I don't care how kind you are, how much you give of yourself, how much you give of anyone else. I don't care. An ungrateful person is an ungrateful person. And unfortunately, those people that are ungrateful, it takes trauma or tragedy to help them appreciate the things that they're ungrateful about. What are your thoughts on that?
yes, that is so true. And I think some people are sleepwalking. Just to add to what you're saying and chime in, people are sleepwalking when they don't realize that they're walking around and doing life and navigating life in a way that doesn't appear to be grateful. It is so easy, and I will attest to that. It's so easy for you to focus on what's going on in your surroundings. And that's why it's so important for you to have joy instead of happiness. And that leads into what you were saying about gratitude, because with happiness, it is predicated upon what is happening around you and the circumstances that you have in your life to be happy in a sense. And so it is so easy for you to walk into a room and walk into an environment, and actually become the actual thermostat of the temperature that's in the room. And it becomes infectious towards you. And so you want to have that joy so that you can be the thermostat to change that environment around you. And I think being grateful and having gratitude is the key thing. So you're right on the money with that. I totally agree with that.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, so thanks to everybody that's jumping into the chat. Veronica, Miss Freeman, hopefully you're back there listening. Of course, my beautiful mom, Silver Fox, Ronnie, and Music, and anybody else that may be on the chat, please share the link, man. This is a great conversation. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask me questions. And what advice will I give you individually based on you desiring some advice from Rich Live, right? So, with that being said, what's another good nugget that we could jump on right now?
Wow, we've got a lot. We do, we have a lot. And so we talked about those people who are dealing with people who are unkind, and that stems from them not being grateful. But let's talk about people, like you would say, this is a great time for you to think about how you want to end the year and then how you want to move forward for next year. So let's talk about and help someone out who's struggling with where to invest their time, how to invest their energy, because that is very important. There is a difference between being productive and being busy, and it's all about your energy. So please give us some good nuggets and motivational nuggets for someone who they don't know how to put their energy into the right thing. So what would you say to help them?
This is you got to listen to this one really, really, really clear. Hear me clear. Hear me clear. We typically are not attracted to people. We're typically attracted to energy. Most things that we're drawn to is based on our energy and the chemistry that we have with it. And then the person behind it becomes attractive. But typically, just like this station, just like this podcast, just like the whole MSC network and everyone that's a personality here, most often people come back and listen to these messages because of the energy that exudes from the messages, not necessarily the people. It's the people that give the energy. So just be very, very conscious of what you're following and what you're listening to, and what you're allowing inside you, because it's the energy that really moves us. It's what propels us to keep coming back or to pursue. It's the energy and the likeness of the energy, and then it's the person that gives the energy. So basically, if you didn't see me and you heard positive information coming from me, you would still be interested in the positive information because of the energy that comes from that person. So just be very conscious of the type of energy that is around you, because just like it can be positive, negative energy can do the same thing and have the same effect.
I agree. Definitely agree with that. So what do we do? I mean, because definitely we want to help someone here. So let's say from someone just got that epiphany, they just got that light bulb over their head that they are just investing their energy into the wrong thing, or they're absorbing energy from the wrong things that are just weighing them down. How can they shift? What should they do? Let's give them some practical steps of how they can stop receiving that negative energy or what's not feeding them or helping them. How can they make a shift over to something else?
The word divorce, divorce negative energy. So basically, energy, follow me, listeners, follow me closely. Energy, we should stop giving energy to that thing that does not have a future in our life. Stop giving energy to something that doesn't belong in your future. That could be a person, that could be a situation, that could be a past time, it could be past trauma, it could be something that is happening right now in your life. Stop giving energy to things that don't have a future in your life. Stop giving energy to to negative things that are temporary. Stop giving energy to things that don't deserve your energy, period. All it does is delay and deplete.
Okay, so let's stay right there for a minute because I think some people needed some help. Because I think some people can mislabel what they think is permanent is actually temporary.
Right.
So, how can you help someone? Because I think, well, I can only talk for myself, is that if you want something to be permanent in your life because you love it, whether it's people or things or an idea or project that you're working on and you're striving towards it, and you want it to be permanent in your life, but it is actually temporary. That's so disappointing. And it kind of causes you to want to like work it out and be tenacious. So help someone else to identify what it is those things that they can see that is temporary so they don't make that mistake and invest in their energy into something that's temporary. What would you say?
Temporary is those things are that are transitional in your life. Transitional. As you drive, the lines in the middle of the road are temporary, right? Because you're transitioning. Temporary are things that have a season. Tyler Perry has this thing that I say that he says that's very graceful, which is their leaves, right? Their branches and their roots. Some people and some things in your life is their leaves, and they fall off, and they're seasonal, and they change. The leaves fall off, and then you get more leaves. And then there's some that are branches, and then branches bear leaves. And sometimes the branches, they themselves get weak and fall off. But the stronger branches, they stay connected to the root. So understanding that in that transition that we can't get stuck holding on to the leaves because the leaves are intended to prune itself via the tree, right? So the tree prunes itself and it drops leaves and it get rid of the rotten branches. And this is how life is. We should be shedding the things that should be shedded naturally. And some of those relationships and some of those things in your life, good, bad, and different, are only transitional. And if you don't believe it's transitional, if you're over the age of 3, 4 years old, everyone has transitioned. My daughter transitioned. She has lost every tooth in her mouth at some point. It gets to a point in your life where things have to go because they don't serve purpose. And I think as human beings, what we do is we hold on things that we should not hold on, and then it becomes nuisance in our lives. So the best way to deal with those things is to understand what the season is and when the season
Mm,
ends. And not everyone is going to be a part of every season. And understand when the leaf shed, do not pick it up and try to place it back into the branch. It was meant to shed.
wow, that is deep. If you're listening to this, please put a one in the chat. Come into the chat, and ask your questions here. We're giving some motivational moments. So let me just do a little recap here. We're doing a motivational moments here to help you for where you are right now, where you want to go into the next year. And we're talking about investing your energy and not putting your energy in some things that are temporary. If you can identify with that, if that spoke to you, please put a one in the chat so that we know that we're hitting the mark here. So that was so profound in what you were saying and what you were sharing. And that could step on some people's toes because they have to really recognize and look at the reality of the fact that they're trying to hold on to a leaf that needs to be shed because the season is over. The season is over for you to transition and to move to something else. So that's a wake up call. And so I would say, you have to be careful of where you're putting your energy. Like you said, putting your energy into things that are temporary, and you're thinking is permanent. That is that's hard because sometimes our emotions get us so wrapped up and wanting to keep those relationships or to keep those connections because they thought it was serving us. So I want to add to that, if I may, and that is ask yourself some questions. And that is this feeding me or is this depleting me? And you instinctively know if something is depleting you, something that is draining you. Now, there's a purpose for everything and for every season. We all know that. So, but if you could take a hard look, a self-reflection, and realize that this is not feeding me, this is depleting me. You might want to take another look at this and see the season might be over for this association or what you're doing. So, yes, Richard is giving us some motivational moments right now. So, this is awesome. So, I want to go on and give another motivational moment. And please feel free to put your questions in the chat. We're going to cater to you today in this show. So if you have any questions that you're dealing with anything difficult, so Richard is here and I am here to help you. And we're going to take your questions in the chat as well. But I want to ask you, Coach Rich, and you wear so many hats. You're a coach, you're a strategist, a business strategist, so much that you can do. So if you have those questions that are dealing with also being an entrepreneur, please put them in the chat. But here's my question here. Help someone out that is going through a difficult time in their life. Where their business is failing, they're having family problems, things are just not working out. What would you say to them to help them in this moment?
The key thing is if you're having a difficult time in your life, things happen sometimes on purpose. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but when things happen to us, good, bad, and indifferent, is for a purpose. And if we don't embrace that purpose that thing is happening for, a lot of times we miss the mark and we get stuck there. The reason why I believe things happen, because it nudges you to your true purpose. It nudges you to your destiny. Things happen to propel you to what you ought to be. Things happen to people that are in comfortable states, that are stagnated. It is meant to catapult you to that place that the universe wants you to be, or whatever your faith leads you to, what you want to believe. I give you an example. There are people that just don't really care about life, and they kind of mosey through life, and then they wait and they sit on the porch of their life, metaphorically speaking, and then something happens that could lead to them dying. Now all of a sudden they want to live. So the desire to live has always been there. Sometimes things happen to catapult you into wanting what's best for you in your life, going after the purpose that you're put here on this earth. And sometimes things have to happen on purpose to get you to move in the direction that life intended you to be in. And a lot of times we suppress our purpose intentionally because we don't want to do the work, because the work consists of pain, it consists of discomfort. So we turn it down, we turn ourselves down. But I don't care where you are on this earth, at some point, something would happen intentionally or on purpose, and it brings out the better version of you. And this is why people are now advocating. This is why you find more entrepreneurs, because they're taking their stories, right, and turning them into a purpose-driven life.
That's awesome. And so let's talk about that situation for someone who's gotten used to the dysfunction. They are normalizing the trauma. You alluded to that. You talked about that a little bit. And so it happens. And you were talking about getting stuck. So let's help some people who are actually stuck and they are actually used to the dysfunction. And they've had that bad situation happen to them, and they've had other bad things happen to them. And so they kind of gotten used to being resilient and they covered it up thinking, I'm just being resilient, you know? So, what will be the major thing that they would need to identify to see that this is not the norm here? And then, how can we help them to move forward out of that?
It's easy. It's really easy. When I say the word easy, I don't mean easy theoretically speaking. I mean easy in the sense that it's really one, two, three. But sometimes things are so simple. You know, they say God hide things in plain view, and I really believe that. Sometimes things are so simple. It's just get rid of it. It's really easy. You first, in my opinion, is take a moment, that closet moment, and identify what's dysfunctional in your life. What is not
Mm.
trending correctly? What is it that you're doing that you should not be doing? Right? Where's the dysfunction? What have you normalized in your life that is dysfunctional? And only you know. What are you putting makeup on? What are you
Mm,
hiding behind? What truth are you hiding? How is your home? How is it when the lights go off? When the doors close and it's only you there, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to your universe? What are you saying to your God? What are you saying to whatever it is that you worship? What is that real conversation that's happening when no one's around? So if you really want to know if you're dysfunctional or not, what is it that you're concealing before you leave the house? And that's going to
mm,
be a direct correlation to what you're suppressing. And whatever you're suppressing is going to be your dysfunction. Period. Whatever you're suppressing is your dysfunction. Whatever you're hiding is your dysfunction. Whatever you don't want the world to see is your dysfunction. Period.
mm. All right. I think you are like really making some people a little bit uncomfortable,
I'm
but that's
sorry.
okay. That's going to help them to move
We're getting
forward.
we're getting in shape for 2024. This is how we get in shape. This is how we
Yes.
get inspired. So hey, if
Right.
it's one of those things like hey, at the end of the day, it's no pun intended, but hey, if you throw on a ball cap and you are a woman and it's not part of your wardrobe, before you go outside, you're probably hiding a bad hair day. That is dysfunctional to you, right? So, whatever you're covering that you do not want the world to see that happens in private may be your dysfunction because if you're proud of it, then you will
Mm,
walk in it, right? You'll walk in it. It's like me. I think I can cook very well, right? But I would never take a dish of mine to a function because I think my cooking is dysfunctional. So the point that I'm trying to make is that I think I could cook in private, but in public, you'll never taste my cooking. Maybe my barbecue, everything on the grill, but it's just a sign of, hey, listen, I don't want everyone to know who I really am, in
mm.
my naked truth. So the dysfunction is how I shield it. So just think about that.
That's, yeah.
Ask yourself, what am I in public that I'm afraid to show? What am I in private that I'm afraid to show in public? And that is a clear indication of dysfunction. Another hint, if you're in a relationship, it could be mother daughter, son mother, sister brother, whatever the case, boyfriend girlfriend, husband and wife. We are the best performers of dysfunction because we will go to a wedding and sit next to each other and enjoy that wedding and be the most dysfunctional couple at the actual event. So there's some things that we do because we know how to mask our dysfunction and we normalize it. And then even when you have children, you teach them how to normalize dysfunction so much that they keep your private business, your private dysfunction, just like you do. So, long story short, whatever you're hiding, whatever you're not willing to share with the universe, is a key indication of what may be considered dysfunction to you.
Oh, wow. And I think you said it so well. You cannot heal what you hide,
Nope.
plainly put.
Nope.
Cannot heal it, especially if you're hiding for yourself.
Yes.
So I think there's a little bit more I want us to unpack right there.
Yes.
And that is, I believe that for those who have been hiding for so long, there's fear. Fear is what's keeping them paralyzed and covering up, and hiding. And I think society also makes it easy for people to pretend that everything's okay because you look at social media and everybody's happy, everything's fine, and you don't want to be the one that doesn't look like you got it all together. So you will continue to play that role. But how long can you play it? That's the question. So, what would some tips that you would give, or what would you help someone when they identify that it is fear that is keeping them from exposing what they need to deal with?
Um, eh, that's going to be the big elephant in the room because we hear that so much about fear stagnating our ability to pursue the things that we desire. Fear is like a kryptonite. It is literally fear is worse than is really really almost worse than cancer because it is the most paralyzing thing. Most of us are still moving and still functioning and still live a very decent life, and we're so afraid of ourselves. Our mind, body, intuition, dreams, and thoughts speak to us constantly, and we're still paralyzed, but we're still functioning. But that in itself
Mm,
is dysfunction, right? You live the life that society tells you that you should live out of fear of being considered dysfunctional for living the life that your heart desires. Did you process that?
yeah.
The norm has become dysfunctional. The norm. We have learned to lie to ourselves. We have learned to accept what is intolerable. We have learned to tolerate.
Mm,
You can go to a church and the deaconesses sometimes are the most bitter people in church. Now, no one would address that person. Yeah, Miss Annie Mae and Miss this person, this Miss person, sit your butt down, and she's yelling and she's fussing at people and she's probing at people. Don't sit there, and this is supposed to be where you go to heal. This is where God should reside, right? But the truth of the matter is, no one addresses that elephant. Like that's not really what we believe, right? It's supposed to be very
mm,
welcoming, very warm, right? So what I'm saying is that we sensationalize that dysfunction so much that we're proud of that disposition in that dwelling because we have normalized for so many decades that it is normal that if you sit in the wrong chair or if you do these things this way, it is normal to be responded to that way. So, not to get too much on a tangent with it, I'm basically saying that the world is so dysfunctional sometimes that when you do something normal, you're considered abnormal. You're the
yeah.
oddball. You're the oddball. Stop following trends. Stop following trends. Dysfunction is not normal. And we are like zombies. I'm going to give you an example. Those folks, it is November 14th, it's Lady L's birthday. Those folks that prepare for Black Friday, I remember my wife and I did something, and I did an experiment. It was really, really funny. I did an experiment. So we got to Best Buy before the store opened, right? And I stood by the
Hmm.
door. And the point I was trying to prove to her is that society is very vulnerable and very easy to manipulate. So it's Black Friday. This is before Black Friday turned into Thursday, right? So it's Black Friday. We're the first people at the store. And I said, I'm just going to stand here at the door. And I stood there. And I said, I want you to watch how many people line up behind me. The manager comes and unlocked the door. And I just stand there. I don't open the door. I don't go inside the store. And the line begins to just rap and rap. And everybody's just watching the line and they're jumping in the line. The store is open. No one pulled on the door.
Mm,
No one pulled on the door. So one person creates a line. All I did was just stand there and didn't move. The point I'm trying to make, it is that easy to be dysfunctional in this world, in this
mm.
society, because one person said it was okay. And I never opened my mouth. That's pretty deep. That I could just
Whoa.
stand there and have all these people stand behind me and wait
Wow.
for me to open the door, and it was already unlocked. And that's what we have to get into our minds, is that
Yeah.
we can just pull the door open, but we're waiting for society to open it for us and say, this is okay. It's okay if you do this,
Mhm.
then you can walk through. If you change your body, if you lose weight, if you look this way, if you get this degree, if you do all these things, you can walk through the door, but the door is already unlocked. You have to be the one to recognize it's already open.
All right.
I'm
You are helping some people. Yes, you are. So I've got a question here that I want to read out to someone has a question here, but I do want people to start taking some notes. And he's dropped some very powerful nuggets just now, and that is stop following trends and where the dysfunction becomes the norm. So you got to think about that. Think about that. So we have a question here from Sheila G. Thank you, Sheila G, for your question. We would definitely want to help you. She says, I have this problem attracting people with problems. I think because I'm a caregiver and a good listener. I'm overloaded with others' energies. The problem is most people don't like the truth, and that's just how I roll. Them not wanting the truth or they make excuses, and it's draining me. What do I do without just turning my back or walking away?
You have to recognize that you have the gift, Sheila. You have a gift, and I know this about you. You know, you have to learn how to use your gift, and I mean that in the most distinguished way. What was given to you, it wasn't meant for you to give it to others, and that's what it appears. You cannot change the fabric of other people, and the frustration comes from you want others to see the world through your eyes. And what happens is you become the dysfunctional one because you're not following suit to a standard of dysfunction. So when you call it out, you become the enemy of state. You become the one that goes against the grain. Well, that, my friend, is an anointing. This is a gift. But if you recognize how to manifest it into something positive, do it in leadership. See, you can't tell a goat that is stubborn because it's going to be a goat. So at the end of the day, become the grass. Don't don't try to push a stubborn mule because that's the DNA. You can't make them understand life and the gift that you have. What you can do is just be the example. And sometimes being the example is being powerful in your silence and being powerful when you self actualize. And then people want to follow you when you self actualize. And that comes in a simple way of just leading by example and leading in silence. You'll be amazed of how many sidebars that you begin to receive, how many closet and water cooler conversations you'll have because they'll say you right in private, and just keep doing you, but just understand being yourself is going to make others very uncomfortable. And that's why I say just take the leadership role, self actualize, and move accordingly to the gift that you have, and know that it has not been given to those folks, so they're not going to receive it the way that you're giving it. So just keep being the example.
That's awesome. And I just want to do a quick recap here. We are having some motivational moments where we are actually receiving nuggets. So please put your questions in the chat. Those who are listening globally, we love to hear from you. So please come into to the chat. And if you have any questions, what's going on in your life, We're going to tailor made our answers just for you. So please put your questions in that you have, whatever you're dealing with. We're going to be answering them. And then we have some motivational nuggets that we want to share for you. We talked about energies, not investing your energy in those things that are temporary. We talked about, being unstuck and normalizing the dysfunction. And then we talk about those who are going through difficult things and how they can move forward from those difficulties, and things happen on purpose so that you can fulfill your purpose. These are some wonderful things that we're talking about. So let's talk about, we have a global audience here. We have our listeners here. We thank you for being subscribers of the MSC Network. And we want to talk about that relationship that we have with you. So, Coach Rich, I want to bring this question to you, or bring this opportunity for you to talk about the relationships that we have as radio personalities with our listeners and with our audience. So, what motivational nuggets you have as regards to our relationship that we have with our subscribers?
I truly believe that you know the energy, people goes where the energy flows, and depending on the type of energy that you have, you'll automatically be attracted to that level of energy. So I know for a fact that the listeners that are here, I know for a fact that it's the energy. It's not necessarily me. I may not be the style of guy. I may not look. It may be a combination of things, but I think it's more the energy and the foundation that we represent here. So the personalities, we're all different, but we all have the same goal in mind, and we're task oriented and goal oriented, and we're building. And by us sharing our energy here on this platform, we attract a certain type of people. So I've never had the issue with having to delete someone, to ban someone, to block someone from being a part of this organization, because the energy is conducive to the right people. So if you're unapologetically who you are, then unapologetically you'll meet the people that you're supposed to be conducive with, in alliance with. So a lot of us meet the wrong people because we dress for the wrong event, because we present what we don't want to attract. So I see this all the time. I see beautiful women in skin tight mini skirts, right? And they're showing their figures, right? And then they're very, very disappointed in the approach. But that's what you're marketing. That's what you're advertising. So if you advertise who you are, then you'll receive the same situation based on your makeup. So start presenting your truth. Start walking in your truth, and then you'll attract your truth.
Attract your truth. That's an interesting way to put it, because I think a lot of people, and that's awesome. I think a lot of people are walking around thinking that it is a chance. I think some things are divinely orchestrated and that you can attract. So that what we're talking about, MSC Nation, we're talking about changing your mindset. And these motivational moments, these nuggets that we're giving out, is to help you to have a different mindset. And again, we want to take your questions that you have in the chat. So let's help some people again. So I want to talk to you about those people who are just they're just stuck in the wrong mindset. They're living with anger. They have resentment. They're letting it eat them up. They're just full of regret. Now, I must admit, I was on that path of regret, because I was thinking, hey, I'm thankful to have another birthday. And I was like, I look back. I think everybody does this. Every time they have a birthday, they look back over their life and see how far they've come, and then you can get regret. You can just have a regret, thinking, oh, I should have did this and should have, could have, would have, and they're stuck there. So help some people who are living with resentment, anger, and regret.
This is a really good question. If you are living in resentment, shame, hurt, or regret, or any of the combination, therefore, in between, that is a very expensive price to pay. Regret, hurt, guilt, shame is toxic. It is expensive, and this leads to brokenness. So if you are broke, or you're living in brokenness, there's a strong possibility that you're spending your resources, time, money, and energy in regret and guilt, right? Resentment, right? Anger. All these things are very expensive, and they subtract from the currency of the ability to live a fulfilled life. So you think of your body as a credit card, and you're spending all of your credit on these negative
Mm,
items, and you're wondering why the limit is decreasing. You're decreasing yourself because you're spending on expensive things that has no reason or no right to be a part of your future. So pay that debt off. Wash it clean, right? Build your life credit, right? Stop giving energy and stop spending on things that's not a part of your tomorrow. Let's start charging our lives for tomorrow, for 2024, for 2025. But we can't be successful if we're charging and paying for things that happened a long time ago. That debt is old. That is old. It's a write off, it's a charge off. Do not provide any more resources to your negative past and start charging for the future.
that's awesome. I just want to add to that. I'm actually a witness to that. You know, I got to a point where I was just like, look, the definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. And what you're doing or what I was doing wasn't working anymore.
Right.
And I didn't get that epiphany until later. And I truly believe that you're still on this earth, there's still time for you to do some things about your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's never too late. There's a better quality of life that you can experience. And it takes having a different mindset. And Coach Rich and I, we just want to help you to get to that right mindset. And so we have so many motivational moments that we had here tonight, and I hope you were taking notes. So as we're getting to wrap up, if I wanted to say this, if you missed some of these motivational moments, please check us out on social media. Coach Rich has so many nuggets that he is sharing with us here, and if you miss it and you need a recap, you can always go back and watch the videos that we have here, but you can also follow him on social media with Facebook and Instagram. So I just wanted to let you know that. But what are some things that you want to help close us out, Coach Rich, as far as helping all of this make sense for what you want? What's the main thing that you want us to get in our mindset so that we can end the year right and start the year off in the right way?
Use what you have to get what you want. Period. Start where you are. Stop with all the hoopla. If I had all I need, when I finish, as soon as. Stop with those. You have the ingredients to be, to go, to achieve whatever it is with where you are in this moment and what you have. You don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to do anything. Take a deep dive inside. Take what you have and build on what you have now, and the rest will follow. I promise you. So I want to encourage everyone, and that's going to be my focus for the rest of the year, is to start having more conversations about what we are grateful for and what we have. Because if we focus on what we do not have, that is a pit hole. And when we go down that hole, it's hard to get out of that. Let's start recognizing the success, the small victories, and the large ones, like the one everyone celebrated. Every single person celebrated one victory today. You want to know what that victory was?
What's that?
Waking up.
That's it.
Let's not take it for granted. We all woke up. Every time you take a breath, it's a victory. But also, every time you take a breath, someone did not, or someone had their last. So what are you going to
Mhm.
do with your victories of breathing? What are you going to do with your victories of being able to see? What are you going to do with your victories of being able to hear, taste, smell, touch, mend relationship, purge bad ones, live the life that's left, live it in full? Most of us have lived most of our lives. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? Take what you have in this moment, build on what you have, build on who you are. And remember, stop serving what's not a part of your future. Why would you base a turkey if you're not going to bake it or fry it? Why would you be putting energy and ingredients in something that you do not plan on serving and that will not serve you? Stop
Mhm.
seasoning the meat that you won't serve. Stop preparing dishes that you're not prepared to eat or don't desire to eat. Get rid of all those ingredients. You don't need them anymore, right? Stop paying the credit card of your life. Stop charging and using those resources on things that won't be a part of your future. Shed some of those leaves. Leaves are temporary. Some of the branches will break off. The root will always stand. Understand what the root bears. You are the root. And if those leaves have not been serving you, if they have fell off, you notice you can never put a root, you can never put a branch back onto a tree. You can never put a leaf back onto a branch. But
Right.
this is God's work. It is
Mhm.
intentional that we lose our teeth when we're young. We shed skin. Because we have to evolve. So as everything falls off, some parts of this life, all parts of our life, is temporary. We're on
Mhm.
borrowed time. That's what life is,
Yeah.
right? It's it's
Yeah.
it's flesh on borrowed time, right? What are you doing with that time? We don't own the clock, so stop acting like you do. Live every day as if it's the last one. But also keep in mind that there's some people that have shown us that as an example. We know people that have had their last days. Okay, what are
Yeah.
we going to do with ours? Right? So
Right.
the holidays are coming up. Let's not go into the blues. Let's try to stay away from the blues. Let's celebrate the victories of their lives that we have lost, those who have preceded us. But let's also celebrate what we have. Every victory is a breath that we take, it's a step. Every blink is a victory. Every time we eat, every time we do something that we take for granted, it is a victory. Now, live your best life. Shed those leaves because they're going to fall off anyway. Sometimes you don't have to get rid of things or rid of people, they will get rid of themselves. Do not go back and get them. Do not go back to those situations. Press forward, not rewind.
Wow. That's, oh, you said so much that was so powerful. So, yes, I hope you were taking notes. I hope you were taking notes for these motivational nuggets here. So, we're going to be, we have positive energy with our radio personality here at Mimicry Network, and we're getting ready to allow Dr. Marcia to come up with Up Sis Up. She's going to be joining us in just one moment, but I just wanted to remind you to please to take a moment to just write down these notes. If all the things that we shared, if you didn't get a chance to write down all these notes, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, to get these motivational nuggets because we're all about helping you to move forward. So we're walking in our purpose and we want you to walk in your purpose as well. And so I'm going to hang over to you to say the last thing for what's the last thing you want to share with us tonight before we go over to Dr. Marcia?
Hey, listen, we're going to be closing out the year with positive motivational nuggets, and just follow me on Facebook. I'm going to be dropping them every morning because we're going into the holiday season to be very festive. We're going to do it different this year and be light and be festive and not be broken, right? So understanding that we're responsible for our lives. Let's take responsibility. Let's live it to our fullest. We have a lot left in us. Let's not leave anything on the table. Bitterness, anger, resentment, hurt, pain, guilt, and shame are very expensive things. Let's put them down and save the rest for tomorrow, right? So keep in mind that it's hard for you to love somebody if you don't love you. And it's hard to love you if you don't maintenance you. So we're going to do that by letting the leaves fall, letting the branches fall. And remember the root. You are the root, and you bear great fruit. So believe it's possible. There's a lot left. So go ahead and live the best life that you possibly can. And with that being said, hey, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I see you, Bridget. Good to see you. And also Music and Marie and everybody else that chimed in. Hey, don't forget to support the organization. But most importantly, stay tuned. Dr. Marcia will be dropping some nuggets right after you. On the Rich Live Show, we always like to end by saying we love you. And there's what?
There's nothing you can do about it.
Until the next time. See ya!
If you need the best entertainment in one place, music with smooth grooves, you have to tune in to MSC Network. And if you want the best place for the culture, the community, with good vibes, with good content for your soul, so tune in to the MSC Network, tune in to the MSC Network, the MSC Network, the MSC